Hi, and welcome to another Martin Done Right. Today I'm going to speak with Yanna-Torry. It's going to be a very interesting conversation because it's all about deliverability and what we should be aware of using email marketing for the main sales season that we are going through, like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So it's not something that email marketing should be only used for this kind of sales season, but mostly used all year long and to build up all of the sender reputation and also be aware of all of the implications that it can happen if you send a lot of emails without a very consistent way through this sales season. I hope you enjoy it as much as I am of having this chat with Yanna-Torry. When we are talking about email marketing, because it's something that we need to really take care and to prepare all of these things all year around, and not only for the Black Friday and Cyber Monday. What is usually your experience working with brands for this particular the series of the sales pitch they do on Black Friday, Cyber Monday?
There's a couple of things actually. People tend to think about Black Friday too late in terms of the technical deliverability things. We want to make sure that, the spam filters understand there's going to be changes, your volume is going to be going up. But businesses tend to spend time on the marketing, what is the best promotion, how is the best, the best colors, the best banners, the best everything, without necessarily thinking about, are people actually going to get the email, or am I competing for space in the inbox? Sometimes the question is even more simple. Do I need to do a Black Friday offer? If you're a
Exactly.
lawyer, you're not going to be selling 2-for-1 divorces, right? You don't need to send in Black Friday promotion. And some businesses try to compete. There's no point in competing. There's no point in ruining your reputation or your deliverability, for example, during Black Friday. You don't want the month of November to be the month you show Google and Yahoo and all the spam filters that no one really cares about your particular emails. They might care, for their 99% off television or MacBook at Best Buy,
Exactly.
but a 5% coupon on a $2 purchase, it's not really worth it at that point. Just, go through and wait for the holidays. So the first question asked is usually, do I need to do a Black Friday promotion? Do I need to compete for attention during the inbox? And
Yeah.
then the other one is Black Friday seems to have started a couple years ago being like 2-3 days. And now the whole month of November is Black Friday. So
Yeah.
don't wait until the end of the month. If you're a smaller brand, go get people's money before they spend it all on the MacBook and the TV. It's
Yeah.
just not worth
It's
it.
almost
It's almost like the Black November or something like that.
like that.
Yeah. Or like Cyber Monday, and it becomes Cyber
Yeah.
Week, and we're like
Yeah.
Christmas and it's still Cyber Monday. You're like, come on, guys. Just
Yeah.
pretend.
Exactly.
What do you think? What needs to be done on Black Friday or not in this case about the preparation, everything that they need to handle?
Of course, the preparation starts way before you even start thinking about sending on Black Friday. So this is
Yeah.
weeks beforehand. And the reason is quite simple. Spam filters, your domain reputation has to follow with everything that you've been doing the last couple of months. So if you've been sending one campaign a month, or you've been sending one promotional email a month, and then it's Black Friday, you start sending the same people once every single day, the spam
Yeah.
filters are going to either feel attacked. They're not going to like this. They're going to want to protect their customers. So if you would like to send, during Black Friday week, an email Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you need to start showing this beforehand. So you need to start upping the volume. You need to also make sure that people are still engaged. Sending more emails and less people opening them is definitely not a good idea. We want to make sure that all the magical changes that happen, not only for Black Friday, but for the holidays as well, you kind of ramp up to it. We tend to think about IP warm up, and we never think about
Yeah.
the domain or the reputation or how we look like. The easiest example was last year during Corona, when the official lockdown started in May and June, and businesses started realizing that the only way to communicate directly with their customers was through emails. Best, one of the best ways to do it. And you had these amazing brands these huge brands they
exactly.
tend to talk one way. They were very expensive brands, and then one day they're sending out a lot of emails talking about how they're there for the customers, they care about you, and the
Yeah.
spam filters are like, you used to sell, haute couture. What do you mean what are you? Like a
Yeah.
psychiatrist? How did this tone of voice change? And at the same time, the spammers were doing the same thing. They were trying to steal information, social security numbers, credit cards, things
Yeah.
like that. And they start saying the same thing. Oh, we're here for you. We care about you. Click here to get some free money, or, to get the financial aid from the government. And those two emails seem similar. And then none of the emails started landing in the inbox. And people
Yeah.
just drastically changed from a tone of voice, which was very rich, very, we're amazing, to a tone of voice of, we're here and we're thinking about you. And that just didn't work out because that's not what the spam filters were expecting from the brands. So
Exactly.
warming up is
Exactly.
just really not only IPs, it's really the whole ecosystem with email. If you're sending 200 emails a week and then you magically have 1 million people in your list, the spam filters are not stupid. They know this
Yeah.
probably didn't have a boost of customers come in the last week. So it's always to make sure in terms of preparation that you know where you want to be for Black Friday or the holidays, and then
Yeah.
you start ramping up to all of those things: a change in tone, frequency, who you're
Yeah.
communicating with. If you've never communicated with people in a very long time, maybe
Mm-hmm.
start re-engaging them earlier, not just on Black Friday. They're not going to remember you anyways. It's not only on a technical side, it's also a marketing side. If I haven't
Yeah.
heard about your
Exactly.
business in a whole year and then you
Yeah.
just want to sell, I probably won't like your business. Like, thank you for utilizing my email as a way to ka-ching, make money. People, we tend to forget that we also get too many emails a day, as
Exactly.
senders. We're like, oh,
Exactly.
this email, and then we go and we do the exact same thing for work. So
Yeah, for
we need
sure.
to control ourselves.
No, for sure. Yeah, and I guess brands are more aware since they use the marketing department to handle all of the email marketing and so on, and they are, I guess, more interested about the marketing side of the messages they are sending, what it's the copy, whatever, and usually they forget about the technical side. This means that they have a lot of work producing all of the content and subject lines and so on. And when they forget about the technical side, most of their audience, it's not going to read the message. It's going to be filtered in some way. And one of the things that I've noticed is they are the talking about of changing email platforms like the solution. Okay, now the deliverability of this email platform that I'm using, it's falling, it's not working, so we are going to change to another email platform. And like the biggest solution for the deliverability, it's about the platform. It's not about them, it's not about their practice.
It's
Them, it's
never
not
their
about
job,
their.
right?
And it's a pet peeve that I have using all of this, because I also made a video about that. I'm not very fond of changing email platforms, and especially the authentication, because most of brands don't place the right authentications for their email marketing. So what do you think it could be a preparation they must do, not only the Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but also Christmas, everything about the sales? And obviously authentication, it's not just for the sales period, but also for every time. Authentication is necessary, but brands don't do it. Why do you think they don't care that much about the authentication?
I think the main issue, I have two main issues with this,
Yeah.
or where I think it's coming from. One is the assumption that when you send an email, people are going to get it. We all send emails, we all
Yeah.
receive emails, and that assumption is just really, really ingrained. I've been doing deliverability for now a very long time, and even with
Yeah.
my peers, we always have this pushback. People are hiring us to fix a problem, and we tell them what the solution is, and they just don't want to listen. And it's like, but
Yeah.
you are paying me, the specialist, and you're going to do the complete opposite. And many times, that's how the money is going to be made. They're not going to listen. They're going to go do the opposite, and then the deliverability tanks. And then what do? They call a deliverability specialist to fix it. The people keep thinking because there's a lot of different things that are going to affect deliverability, obviously. So you don't want to just deliver to the inbox in terms of Google accepting the email. You want to deliver inside the inbox where the customer sees it. And that's the part that you don't get to decide. Google decides. Google can say, yes, Yanna-Torry's email exists, but I won't, show it to her. And they think there's no disconnect. If the email exists, the person's going to get it. Maybe it's going to go to spam. And some people even think that spam is okay. I don't want any of my emails to land in the spam box. Are you kidding me? There's no way in hell. But for some businesses, it's okay as long as it lands somewhere. This is very, to me, old school kind of thinking of, if we're going to have one poster, as long as most people like the poster, most people might buy Coca-Cola. No, there's like targeting and all these things that we want, and people they just really don't understand. They really think that we're kind of like licking our fingers and like trying to see what direction the wind is blowing, and that's deliverability. And we forget it. There's like IT here. There's like security measures. There's like people that work at these companies that we have relationships with. The abuse team, the postmasters. It is really complex, and the reason it's complex is because human nature is complex. The way you sell, the way even spammers are finding ways around the spam filters and around authentication, all these things. So it's like an ongoing battle. Things are changing on a daily basis. It always seems very weird, if I tell them, ooh, your open rate's going very high very quickly, might be a deliverability issue. Spam filters are clicking. And then I say the opposite. Ooh, the open rate's going down. Maybe people are not getting the email. And they're like, which way is it? Too many open rates, too little open rates. Where is it? It's all about analysis, and it gets just too confusing because like 20 million things we have to talk about and think about. And when somebody comes in and just says, the easiest way to succeed, follow the practices, follow the best practices, follow the laws. The spam filters are following the laws. All the best practices it's following the laws. If you follow the laws and you just have a bit of human decency, you're going to be totally fine deliverability. You'll never have to talk to me or talk to any deliverability specialist. You can take care of it all on your own. Just be normal. If you sell mattresses, selling a second, third, fourth mattress is probably never going to happen. Don't send another email trying to sell a mattress,
Exactly.
Sell something else, pillows, how to take care of the mattress, what happens, if you drop wine on the mattress, this is how you clean it. There's so many other ways to get people's attention and remind them that you exist, other than trying to sell again and again and again. There's a maximum, like we all know about like Amazon. You buy something and then you get an email selling the same thing, and you're like, how many toilet brushes do I need? We forget about that. As a consumer, we get very annoyed. And as a sender, we're like, no, let's spam everybody.
And using the same example that you've given about the mattress company, for instance, the tips to sleep well, or how you need to do before you are going to bed, and to have a good night's sleep. And that's something that it's relevant for their audience, and they are not actually trying to sell something that eventually these kind of people are not going to buy immediately, because they already have bought a mattress. It's not something that they are going to buy by impulse or something like that. Sometimes I think they use email marketing like not as it should be, like a one-to-one marketing relationship, but mostly about like a blast, the channel to reach to their audience, and they have their KPIs and goals to achieve that month, which is X amount of sales, and they don't care about where it comes. They just need to reach that KPI. And that's, I think, one of the major risks that we face using email marketing to do that. It's because you are ruining everything about your reputation and your sender reputation. One thing that I've seen on Twitter today was someone in the email marketing industry talking about, okay, if you change the domains and you buy fresh new domains and new IPs to try to squeeze between the lines about the spam filters and so on, because you've bought an email list or whatever, it's only going to work for a small percentage of what you are trying to achieve. And if you are always trying to do that, you're not going to build a sustainable relationship with your audience. It's just burning your market. In my perspective, I think it's a bad practice, but most of the email marketers out there, they claim to be email marketers. They just do all of these.
They're not educated in how it works as well, right?
Yeah.
Like we know the difference between somebody who's really in the email marketing community and or the industry versus a marketer who can email. There's a huge difference in, like I'm a deliverability specialist. No one in the email community would how do you say it? Nobody in the community would think I'm the one sending the emails, or I'm the one controlling the spam filters, and I'm the one
Yeah.
that's like yes, no, yes, no. I don't work at
Yeah.
Google. I'm not. I'm not a computer.
Yeah.
But a lot of people as well, which is my second reason why people don't do things correctly, is that the email marketing tools are not designed, like the UX, the flow is not designed to help the customer make better decisions. We're not forcing, for example, customers to not use a at gmail.com to send their emails, or an at Yahoo. Why are these ESPs allowing their customers to send using a non-domain email, right? We'll
Yeah.
all know that's not a good practice. It's not a good idea. Yahoo has DMARC implemented. Most of the emails will not land anywhere. The other thing is the tools that are allowing these people to do whatever they want as well. We all know the tools we can go to that are a little bit more lax. You can have higher spam complaints, you can have higher bounce rates, and they won't suspend your account. And we know which ones
Yeah.
don't do it. As an email geek, we all know that you shouldn't be sending 500 emails a day from your inbox. But there's a variety of tools out there that allow you to do it. The tools themselves are there to make money and they're there to help you, but they're not there to educate the customer and saying, yes, we can help you send 500 emails from your inbox, but the cap should be about 30. Because what regular human being is sending manual emails and sending 500 of them a day?
Yeah.
Impossible. Do you really know 500? Like, even if you were like the a secretary that works at the biggest law firm, I don't think you're sending 500 emails a day to 500
Yeah.
new people a day for the rest of the year. Impossible. We forget also how easy it is to figure these out. Like if you that's a logical question, right? What
Yeah.
business knows 500 new people? None of them. So
Right.
that's a really easy, like, something weird. There's the fact that, for example, people are rotating their domains, but they're using the same content,
Yeah.
linked to the same website.
Exactly.
What do you mean Google doesn't know? It's like
Yeah.
Yanna-Torry.com, YT.com, YTorry.com, and it
Yeah.
all goes to Yanna-Torry.com. Like, Google
Yeah.
knows what I'm doing. I don't know. It's a little bit disappointing. I'm personally hoping that I can just revolutionize the world and just spread all the knowledge I have, because
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
gonna go and they're gonna Google the shit out of Instagram
Yeah.
algorithms. How does Instagram work, and how many times, and
Yeah.
what's the best time? And nobody checks about email. They're like, send, and they're
On a
paying
personal
someone,
basis.
right?
Yeah.
If you're paying the ESP, you're assuming as well that they're doing their job. They have all the documentation. Most ESPs have the documentation. Don't send from a free email.
Yeah.
Do some warm up. Don't change your content too quickly. Clean your list. But it's not inside the tool. So unless you know about deliverability, you will not go
Yeah.
on the knowledge base and like deliverability 10. Nobody does that because they don't know it exists. I have a
Yeah.
job and like people hire me and they still don't know what I do. Like, you send
Yeah.
emails, right? I'm like, no, I don't send any emails.
Oh, you are the mailman. You are the mailman. You're going to with the email by hand.
Read the
Yeah.
email.
They're like, can you also take care of my social media? And I'm like, no, I'm in IT. Like, what do people not
Yeah.
understand? And I spent like an hour, and I thought at the beginning I was the one not explaining it correctly. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe it's the communications the
No,
communication
no,
part I need to work on.
No, no, it's a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of knowledge for most of the marketers. They don't see email marketing as something they need to study. Even when I do some courses in email marketing, usually the audience it's very skeptic, because they feel they already know a lot. So it's like, oh, it's going to be very boring because I already know all of these things. It's almost learning again the same things. It's going to be a nuisance and it's not going to be very interesting. But when they see everything that involves email marketing, like not only the copy side and best practices and so on, but especially the technical side, that's when their eyes they start rolling, because it's almost like, oh my god, this is too much. I can't handle more about changing in the DNS. What's that? What's the domain DNS? It's most of the things they don't think about when they think about email marketing. It's just an email
Email.
Subject line and
Yeah,
content.
exactly.
And how
Exactly.
many
And
contacts
send.
do I have in my list?
and send. You've mentioned about the cleaning of the list. What are usually the main things that you think it could be a good way to clean your list? Because some of the metrics that we usually do to clean the database, which is engagement rates and so on, usually they are not so, how can I say, accurate in the results, because even though people might be open our emails, we just don't know. Because the metric, it can be tempered by the blocking of the images, so eventually we don't know exactly what kind of people are opening or not, since Apple iOS the 15 and other email service providers as well are doing some kind of the protection and privacy for the users. I'm a big fan of not tracking the users that are not interested in that. With the lack of understanding about which people are really opening our emails, are consuming our content, are engaging, what are usually the best practices in this case to clean up our list in order to have a very engaged list for the future?
Okay, so on my end, with all the Apple changes, to personally, I don't believe the changes have done much.
Yeah.
There was a nice graph, I think, from Verizon in 2017, or like quite a long time ago, where they were
Yeah.
already stating that they thought that, not they thought, they knew that about 60% of the open rates that email marketing service providers were giving were 60% fake. So
Yeah.
if you had a 30% open rate, 10% of it was real, and the other 20 were spam filters or things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They were really not a very precise metric to begin with. Everybody was making decisions based on those statistics anyways. So I think for some particular businesses, it depends on their list. You know, if you were
Yeah.
sending to a lot of like if you're doing B2B, you're going to tend to hit the Microsoft O365, right? And
Yeah.
if they don't click download images, you didn't get an
Yeah.
open. So all these things, it depends on the industry. On a general side of things, if you're, you know, especially if you're, you know, selling shoes, just a regular, you know, you're a brand selling to consumers, I wouldn't change too much in terms of worrying about how to clean your list and things like that. I would definitely double check the automation to make sure that, let's say somebody did end up like always opening emails.
Mhm.
Is there a way for them to drop off, or is there a way for you to check, you know, something else? If you're selling something at some point, if you're sending an email every single day and the person doesn't do a purchase, at some
Yeah.
point just stop sending them any emails.
Yeah.
It's not only about opening emails. Like, for example, I really like the Chubbies emails. I think in the email group we really like Chubbies. They're very entertaining. I've never bought anything from them, but I do open
Yeah.
every single email. I think they're very funny. I like the way their personality comes out in the email. For them, I would be very difficult to clean out of the list because I open every single email. I click on
Yeah.
links. I never purchase. They should at
Yeah.
some point say, you know, like, okay, like Yanna-Torry, thank you for loving your emails, but we're gonna stop sending you. We want to make money.
Exactly.
When it comes to cleaning your list, there's the one side of things, which is, you know, the list cleaners, but those are technical list cleaners. They will check if an email is valid, and
Yeah.
then, or, you know, comparing to other metrics that they do have partnerships with different various businesses to have more precise information, but they're checking on a technical level. Spam traps, for example, exist on a technical level. There's an inbox to
Yeah.
accept the email, so those ones would not be cleaned out unless it's a known spam trap and you're lucky enough that the list cleanings provider knows about it. But there is no way in hell in any list cleaner that they're able to clean a list 100%. So that's
Yeah.
one. If you're gonna, if you have some stale lists or you want to re-engage some customers because you have 2 years, for example, in Canada, to email them back and get their consent, I would definitely, you know, use these to at least remove businesses that don't exist anymore, inboxes that don't exist, just to reduce the amount of bounce rates you have.
Yeah.
If not, segmentation for me always starts with, what's your goal of the emails? Is your goal to
Yeah.
send? Is your goal to inform? If your goal is to inform, then them continuing on your website is not as important as a metric. You want to really keep focus on the open rates. And even with the changes, what you want is consistency. If you've always had 30%, you want to stay at 30%. If you've always been at 10, stay at 10, or, try and grow it like everyone else, but stay where you're supposed to stay, because in certain businesses, your open rates might be lower because everybody is using Microsoft Office 365. So you might not, get people to click on the download button. I would check with engagement that goes on the website. We always tend to look at just the email engagements, but what if I had the most amazing promotion and everybody opened the email and zero people bought it? There's something wrong with my email. There's something wrong with the website. I had a customer once, he needed to liquidate everything, just get rid of everything. So he did like a 99%, for him was just pay the shipping, leave me alone. And the email was great. We're like, okay, we're going to make so much money. We're going to sell everything. And he made a mistake where the coupon would get added once you put it in the cart, not on the web page. So people go on the web page and they see the full price and they're like, oh, okay, maybe I'll come back later. Maybe no one tried to add it to the cart to see that the coupon would be added at the end. So nobody bought anything. And the email was doing phenomenally well. The open rates, the click rates, the engagement on the website, what the hell is happening? People dropped. So sometimes people need to open their eyes and look beyond the email. Email is just a way to get people's attention. And then you want to make them do something. And if they're not doing that something, then you have to change your thing. You have to change the content. You have to maybe segment. And you realize when a small section of people want to do those things that you want them to do, purchase, sign up, or, there's a million and one things you could get people to do. So to segment your list, you need to first check what your personal goals are, and then create personas or create groups that are based on those things. There's people who purchase frequently, people who don't purchase frequently. So we have a plan on how to get them to purchase something. And then there's the people who are just kind of like looking at the emails, maybe waiting for a sale or waiting for the end of the season. So then why send them emails every time? Send them an email about something that they're going to save for later. And then that they're interested in this. Sell them that one thing with a really good coupon or really good, liquidation sale thing going on, and then email them. There's no purpose in email them for a month. They remember you. If they don't have the money to purchase a product, for example, every time you send them an email, they just feel annoyed that they can't buy it. They can't buy it. Send it to them when they can buy it. When, at the end of the month, people tend to get their paychecks. Send it, look, maybe during the holidays, certain products is not the time to sell. Parents are thinking about their kids. They're not, or their families are not caring about, how can I go buy myself a Porsche?
Exactly.
Probably not going to buy it in the middle of the holidays. So the best list cleaning starts with asking yourself, what is the goal of your emails? And then create these groups. And then at some point, just if you lost a customer. That's it. Find ways to get the right type of customers in, which is another issue. It starts from even before. If you had a form, with all these like, sign up and we're going to give you free stuff forever.
Exactly.
You're probably getting the wrong kind of customers.
There's a great example from Morning Brew, the biggest newsletter about the financial information for the millennials. They've placed a dynamic content block just for the ones that haven't engaged in the last emails, because those kind of emails are more informative. It's almost like a daily digestible way to see what's happening in the financial world, about the new startups and so on, what's growing, what's not, etc. So it's not something that you are really clicking on the links to know more about that. It's almost like a small resume about everything it's important about the finance. I read every email, but however, I don't click on it. So they've placed a dynamic block saying that, oh, Rui, it's so nice for you to be here, but since we are noticing that you are not engaging with our emails, if you don't click on it, on this block, or at whatever link that you have, by November, we are going to remove you from our list. It's a simple way. Obviously, I immediately click on the button. So it's almost like a reminder, wake up call, or trick to still see if these kind of lists are still engaging or not, and to demand an engagement. Otherwise, we are going to remove you from the list. So it's a great example. I love the approach they've done because it was humorous as well. It was funny. It's not something, oh, I'm going to remove you because you are very bad. You're not clicking on the links. So, no, it was very interesting, very funny, using the tone of voice of the brand, but it was very effective. And I immediately clicked on the button, and now they are still getting a new subscriber, consuming the content. And since their business is by selling advertising on the newsletter, this is a win-win situation because they have the awareness about everyone in the audience to see the email newsletter and consume the content, and they have a proof to give to the advertisers claiming, see, these guys are very engaged. We have a very engaged list, so you better pay whatever is the amount to be there. And since you've mentioned about the growing of the list in my company, usually on the September, October, it's the months where I have the most demands on by clients to grow our list because they are the thinking about Black Friday and Cyber Monday. It's just on in September, October. They think about growing the list for the, that time.
Yeah, because
That
the rest of
time.
the year they don't want to make money, right?
Exactly. It's like, okay, the only time that it's going to be useful to grow our list it's just for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, which obviously I find it crazy, but yeah, it's the general common idea. Do you think that brands are just thinking about growing the subscriber list when they are in special holidays, for instance, Halloween's, Christmas, whatever, not as a sustainable strategy?
Yeah, I definitely see that as well. And it on in my end, it always ends up creating some deliverability issues because people are either going to buy lists or they're going to
Yeah. Yeah.
create these like really good forms that are really good. Like they're very enticing, like everything for free. Yes, here's my email. And
Yeah.
then that's not what they're offering at the end. And people get annoyed. If you sign up to an application and you start getting 20 emails a day, probably going to get annoyed. The practices are wrong. It's like, here, sign up and you'll get a PDF about smoothies. And then you start getting all these like, buy this, buy an elastic band, buy some yoga pants, buy some leggings. Like, what? I wanted a PDF about smoothies. Either
Yeah.
figure out a way for me to come into the regular cycle or send me that email about the smoothies and nothing else. Um, I definitely agree. Like November, December are the months where everybody's really stressed because everybody's not inboxing anymore, and now they
Yeah.
definitely need to fix everything before Christmas. And they're going to do the same thing. I have customers who kind of try again and again. Like every year, it doesn't get worse. Like it gets more and more secure, more and more difficult. But they tend to use the same the same strategies, and every year
Yeah.
they're paying me for the same thing. And I don't know what it is. No, I do know what it is, but I don't
Yeah.
understand why it is.
Yeah.
I know, but I don't understand why. They lose so
Yeah.
much money. People like growing your list is great. You want your business to grow, you want people to remember you. But you know what? Sometimes email is not the way people want to communicate with you anymore. If they're
Yeah.
really sold onto the product, like for example, LinkedIn. Okay, LinkedIn has great emails sometimes.
Yeah.
But why am I getting a notification about a message that I replied back to? I replied back to
Exactly.
it. Why are you
Exactly.
reminding me to answer? I answered. You sign up to these like learning courses and you're getting one, you get the reminder, you can sign up and
Yeah.
it reminds you like, hey, take a class today. It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, it reminds you again and again. Like the,
Yeah.
what is it? The application to learn new languages where they're really good with
Yeah.
the emails.
Yeah.
They're kind of doing something like that. But at some point, if the person just ignores them all, stop
Exactly.
sending the alert every day. There's no point, and it's annoying. And then when I go in my promotions tab and I go in, or like the updates tab, and it's like 50 LinkedIn emails, I get annoyed. So then I
Yeah.
unsubscribe and unsubscribe from everything. We want to make sure when we're growing the list that we're doing it organically and correctly. We want to tell people what we're going to send them. We want to tell them at what frequency we're going to be communicating with them. And we want to let
Yeah.
them know how they can change either the preferences or unsubscribe. That's
Yeah.
it. if people know that you're going to be emailing them, like sign up here and you'll be getting like an email every day.
Yeah.
People understand they're going to get an email and they won't get annoyed at you. Which brings us into kind of like a promotions tab. Is it the spam box or not? No, the promotions tab is a promotions tab. When it started, it was confusing for people. They weren't using it as well.
Yeah.
But now when I go to promotions tab, if I have any promotional email in my inbox, I get annoyed. I'm looking through my work emails.
Yeah.
And sometimes I miss customer emails because there's so much clutter in it. And then I get annoyed and it's my fault that I didn't answer back on time or things like that. This is very annoying. Promotions go to promotions.
Yeah.
And they tend to have better conversion rates because people are in the correct mindset. They go to the promotions tab and they're expecting a sale, a promotions information, whatever. People need to stop panicking. You should start panicking when the emails start landing in the spam box or nowhere at all. People don't care about that. Oh, the emails are going to spam, but it better not go to promotions.
Yeah.
It is so annoying, and they don't believe me. I don't know for you, but when I tell them promotions tab is for promotions, yeah, but how can I get in the inbox?
Yeah.
Don't send promotions. No, but they're promotions. Then they go to promotions. And it's always the same conversation.
I guess marketers are always trying to find a way to gimmick way into the inbox, or I guess it's almost like a game for them. But one of the things that I see usually on the buying list procedure, which obviously, if I find one client that does that, I usually fire the client. Usually it's what I do. When I see a client that it's buying a list or trying to use spam emails to a lot of people, I just fire them. It's usual. I do one per year. It's my metric. It's my average, and one client fired per year for doing bad practices. But one of the things that I see, it's a misconception from most of brands about email marketing. It's since it's not illegal for you to use the general business emails from brands, like general at brandname.com or info at whatever. They think, okay, it's okay to collect all of these emails and then to send information about their product or whatever. They don't imagine that it's not only because it's illegal or not, it's because on the other end, it's going to find a person. So it's someone that it's opening the email, a human being. They didn't subscribe to that list, and they are going to click on the spam button, whatever it's illegal or not. So it's ruining everything about what they are trying to achieve using this kind of approach. So
Do you want to laugh? There's some ESPs that if you upload support, billing, whatever, the info is okay, but anything else they won't send to it.
Yeah.
So people they have all these lists, and then they're paying the ESP to send the emails, and the ESP doesn't. If you want to be able to communicate with those email addresses, you need to, in some cases, you need to have a proof of consent and send it to the support team, and the support team will then whitelist that one email address in that one list you have. So you think you're sending all these emails, and the ESP is saying no, unless they go through a form like MailChimp or whatever gives you a form, then they know it's real consent. But if you uploaded the list with a support, billing, whatever, the info usually passes because a lot of businesses have info as the main email. But all the rest, the ESP says skip, like a suppression list.
I'm working with a lot of the B2B companies, and one of the things that it's very annoying for me as well, but I try to handle, it's they are very keen on using on the subscription forms. They try to avoid the personal emails, like for instance, Gmail or Hotmail or Outlook.com. They try to filter and to ask for the professional email address. In my approach, I don't see this as an intelligent way to subscribe all of these people, because they are most likely to change jobs in a very short time, because there is a lot of job rotation around the world, especially now with remote working and so on. So we can work for whatever company in the world right now. So it's very fast to change jobs, and that it's going to then give you a bounce rate about all of these email addresses that no longer exist, or they exist temporarily just to filter to anyone that it's gathering these kind of emails. We should give the freedom for anyone that it's willing to subscribe to a newsletter or a lead or whatever. They should use the email address they want to use. It's very likely for a business standpoint, this guy that is working in marketing, it's also going to work in marketing in another company. It's not changing immediately jobs. Some do, but it's not very common. So what do you feel about this kind of approach on filtering by professional email address and not the personal ones as a deliverability standpoint?
It depends. I think it depends on the industry type. On a
Mm.
deliverability standpoint, if they're not using like G Suite or Microsoft Office, they're using some of the other mailbox providers. It's harder for you to deliver to those inboxes because a million reasons. One, if you don't know anything about deliverability, you might not know you're on a block list, or that you have bad domain reputation, or the IPs you're using are listed because you're not the one managing them. It's an ESP. So you might have more issues going in. And also some businesses have these like spam filters, like protection for your
Mhm.
inbox, and those are not as good as the Gmail spam filters. Gmail has a bazillion dollars, and they have all
Yeah.
the data in the world to be able to make better decisions of, is this spam, is this not
Exactly.
spam? And they still make mistakes, right? There's still a ratio of emails that are legitimate that go to spam, and some that are not real and that go in the inbox. Even they are not perfect. So now imagine a business that's using a spam filter that they paid for on a monthly basis. They don't have the same kind of information, so they rather block things. So if your domain is on whitelisted, they might never ever get the email. They might accept the email, but no one ever gets the email. And that's
Yeah.
very easy to see, because if you look at people that haven't opened an email in 6 months, in a world where opens are usually bigger than they actually are, you're not
Mm.
inboxing. It's very easy to see this, like, in 6 months, the guy didn't click on one of your emails, or like a
Yeah.
spam filter didn't click on an email. No way.
Yeah.
There's something, you need to start checking things out. So, in a deliverability standpoint, sending to businesses or to domains tend to be more difficult unless they're using, G Suite, or like, which is technically Google at this point, or Gmail. So there's that standpoint. That's one. If not, I don't know about you, but I know, like, I'm a workaholic, so I have 7 email addresses and I'm on my
Yeah.
phone all the time answering to everybody. But I
Yeah.
know that everybody else tells me that's very unhealthy, and they don't
Yeah.
do that. So if you have an audience that, you know what, after 5, when work is done,
Mm.
why did you send them an email to their company email address? They're not
Yeah. Yeah.
looking at 24/7. And tomorrow morning when they're at work and they got the email during the day, it went all the way to the bottom, and they have their actual
Mhm.
emails that they have to respond back to.
Yeah.
Which ones do you think they'll check?
They are going to erase everything, and
That's everything,
Yeah,
and
no
that's
way
it.
they're gonna care enough about your brand. Who are you? Who am I? Who cares about Like, I don't.
Yeah.
People tend to forget that people receive what, like 100, 200 emails a day, and you think you're
Yeah.
more important in my work inbox. Like,
They
one, I should
totally
not
do.
have emailed with that one. If your audience, for example, is like small businesses like mine, where my inbox is my kind of my life, then that makes sense. But if you're going for people that are working for, I keep coming up with law firms, like a law firm, or you
Yeah.
work at the Best Buy office, you really sign up to anything with
Yeah.
your, Yanna-Torry at Best Buy? Why would I do that ever? Even if I was in finance or something, I would use my personal email address. So I think people need to start taking the time to think, one, why are they doing this? Do they know?
Mhm.
Is it just like an idea they had? If
Yeah.
the reason is that you want the company name, add a field. What company do
Exactly.
you work for?
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
We tend to like overthink, and like
Yeah.
which has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. But if people open an email
Yeah.
and in half a second they close it,
Yeah.
Google doesn't like that. Nobody likes that. It means that you caught their attention with something. They opened the email and was the wrong information. It was either,
Yeah.
you're lying to them in the subject line. Don't do that ever.
Yeah.
And people really need to understand how how metrics work. And also just get out of your own head. If everybody opens an email and nobody buys anything, who cares? You cannot go to your boss and say, I have 100% open rates. Did we make money? Nuh-uh. You're not getting a raise. You're not getting a promotion. Like, what are you thinking? And sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times in my experience, I don't know for you, the people who want to do better emails are actually the marketing teams. It's always the C-level or the managers are like, send more, send more, send more. Or just take a 5% coupon on $2. Who cares? 10 cents. Sometimes people don't think it through. It's just push, push, push. We're not in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s anymore. Everybody wants a personal message for me, and it better be the best product for me at the right time when I'm walking to the washroom and I'm going to be on my phone. That's how we just want businesses to know everything.
Yeah.
And then when we're the sender, we're like, no, let's just like, let's have everybody loves me. It's not how it works.
One of the things that I was thinking about the risks of using links for the suspicious websites. One of the things that I've seen is sometimes they don't care about the security of their own websites. They allow it to be like a source of hacking, or they inject some malicious code in the website. They don't realize that even when they send an email, if, for instance, Google, which has access to a lot of data like the Google Analytics, Search Console, and so on, they have a lot of information about the websites itself and like Chrome and so on, and they signalize what kind of websites are being attacked, and what kind of websites they have content that eventually it's considered the suspicious. And sometimes when we access to Gmail, we see like a red banner inside an email warning people, please don't click here. Because it has a link for a suspicious website or something like that. I don't see many brands caring about that as well. So it's almost like, okay, I'm going to send an email. It's a link for the website, but since they are not being filtered by the browser, it's going to be okay. But it's not.
Oh yes, it's already hurt when Google starts seeing things like this. It's they're definitely checking something. It should be a huge alert for everyone. Like, and also, who wants that? Who wants to have a brand like, does this look safe? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm just gonna read the email, not touch it, and like close it again. Not everyone is gonna click look safe unless the brand is your friend, or a business, and people don't know how to check authentication. If is the email authenticated, has it, does it look legitimate? They don't know how to check themselves to do any of these things. So most people are like, okay. And I don't know, for me it'd be like a sour taste. I get very insulted if I send a legitimate email and Google's like, does this look safe? I'd be very like, what do you mean does this look safe? I'm amazing, like everybody wants my email. Of course. I would get so insulted. I just sometimes I'm very confused how people can lie to themselves when it comes to email. We've all done email. Most people have done email in their lives. They've sent at least one campaign. Most people have. And we just like, oh, spam complaint. Whatever. Oh, low open rates. Shit, it's a problem. No sales. It doesn't matter. And I don't know. Hopefully with all these videos and all this content, knowledge sharing, we'll finally get through to the people that are not actual, diving deep into the email community. But we just need to logic.
Even if people don't say it out loud or something like that, but this kind of content that we are creating right now, I hope it's getting some kind of impact on the way they are doing all of these things, and they are improving, even if they don't do everything that we have said here today. Maybe some of the things they are going to apply, and if they just make some adjustments or use some of the tips that we've shared today, I guess they already are getting a lot of value, because we all know how much a small thing that we do on email marketing gets a real impact for the business standpoint. Because I'm auditing a lot of companies, even in the UK, and I see how much revenue they are bringing um, through email marketing. It's generating millions of pounds, but and still they don't use all of the possibilities of the email marketing, because they are just sending like e-commerce standpoint. It's like, okay, shopping, 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 and it's something that, okay, it's generating a lot of money, but imagine if you just change a few things and you send some segmented personalized emails to this kind of audience, it's going to have a huge impact. And if they are getting already a lot of money, imagine if they change just 1% of the of the CTR they already are doing, it can generate much more millions in the end of the year. So it's something that sometimes I don't. It's not that rational in my mind, but yeah, but it's how they do it.
Yeah, and then people get offended, like send less
Exactly.
emails. What? I'm gonna send
What?
less emails. I was like, yeah, just
Yeah.
send less emails. Like no one cares. No, but my open rate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And people need to like relax and think
Yeah.
logically. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, that's bullshit or like whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, no, no, no. That's how
Yeah.
it works. You don't get to wake up and get annoyed that you have to click, you can never have inbox zero, and then go
Exactly.
around the complete opposite. And right now
Yeah.
we have so much data. So
Yeah.
much data. They're creating laws one after the other, right? To make sure that we don't sell it or we don't lose it or,
Exactly.
and we don't use any of it. We look at the
Yeah.
open rates. There's so many other things to look at. You can
Yeah.
connect Google
For sure.
Analytics, like
Yeah.
what difference, you put all these UTM links everywhere, backlinks and the whole shebang, but not in your emails. You don't care to know what people are doing after the email.
Yeah.
What are you
Exactly.
talking about? You want people to sign up. Maybe you'll figure out that your links are broken or
Yeah.
that the sign up flow must be different. Sometimes people are going to blame email for lack of sales, and the issue is that the website doesn't fit with the email that they're doing. So people are, starting on a path and then the path changes and it's just confusing or it's weird or
Yeah.
sketchy. People really need to relax.
Yeah, exactly.
Relax,
Let's
stop
relax,
pressing
everyone.
send all the time and just look at all the data. And if there's
Yeah.
data you'd love to have, ask your customers for it. And you don't have to be very like, do you want women's clothing or do you want
Yeah.
men's clothing? But you can send a
Exactly.
campaign that has women and men, like just a picture of a woman and a picture of a man,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they click on women. If they click on women like 4 or 5 times,
Yeah.
probably they want women clothes. And then
Exactly.
on Father's Day you start selling, Father Day stuff just for your
Yeah.
husband maybe or your father or whatever.
Yeah.
It's very easy to, well, very easy. It is simpler than people might think to get
Yeah.
information out of the customers. Your campaigns you can have a campaign flow that's just about getting data from customers,
Yeah.
data that's important. And then there's the flip side where people tend to use all this data and they don't know what to do with the data.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make some goals, check what makes sense. If it's sales, it's sales. If it's information, it's information. If it's sharing, you're telling something to a customer, you want them to share more. Whatever your metric, whatever your sale purpose is, or your whatever you need to do, go backwards from there.
Yeah.
You need to
Exactly.
sell. What kind of people do you need to sell? What do you need to sell? How can you sell it? Are you selling in store and by email? Are you, sending people to social media and hopefully they buy from Instagram? What are you doing? And then make it fit like a puzzle. And
Yeah.
focus on the people who are have or no focus on the people who are going to give you the money or the time of the day. Don't spend all this time trying to make everybody like a message, because then nobody likes the message. Send to the
Exactly.
people who want exactly something specific. And if you're going to spend all day creating content, create content that's going to convert, not content that's general enough that people might be okay, and that's it. You want people excited. You want people to do, you want to manipulate people into doing what
Yeah.
you want from them through email.
Mm.
And it's the best way to communicate with them because it's always there. You get a notification, you get the inbox, always in the face. We're never at inbox zero. People just really need to chillax,
Yeah.
take a step back, look at what you're doing. And sometimes something as easy as signing up to your own emails to realize how many emails people are getting. If you're not interested in reading your own emails,
Yeah.
no one else is. You should like
Exactly.
read your emails like it's like poetry you made. Like, this is my business. It's my content with my
Yeah.
imaging. If you don't care
Yeah.
about your own emails, why does anyone else care? You should be
Exactly.
your number one fan, right? Number one
Yeah.
fan of your own business. If your mom doesn't really care about your
Yeah.
emails, who has said that? Somebody has said, I don't remember who it was. They're like, always send it to your mom. If your mom doesn't like the email, don't send it to your customer. I was like,
Yeah.
I do that because I do that. I'm like, Ma, can you read this?
That's cool.
That's what I do. I'm going to
I
keep doing it
love
for a
it.
very long time. So people just, I don't know, just like try to communicate with the people who care about your brand. Try to get
Yeah.
more of those people on your list, and that's it. You can
Cool.
spend time on the same 10 people who are going to give you their whole paycheck, or the 10,000 people, maybe one of them is going to be like, okay, whatever, pass a credit
Yeah.
card.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. For sure.
that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Do you have any more topics to cover?
I don't know if some things that people can check on their own. There's some things that people always tend, like you go to, which is why I exist. Hopefully, my
Hmm.
tool is going to be accessible to most, but validity and all those tools are very expensive, and
Yeah.
most of the information they give is accessible for free. Is your email on a block list? Fairly, I mean, go on the website and check if
Yeah.
it's on a block list. There's a couple of
Yeah.
websites as well that check like about 30, 40 most important one. MX Toolbox checks a couple of them.
Yeah.
It's not something you need to pay for unless you have like 10,000 domains and you don't want to check every single one every day.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
do it
Yeah.
through the terminal. You can do it yourself, checking
Yeah.
the sender score. People are like, my sender score is like amazing.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Sorry, but it's like going to the bank and you
Yeah.
want to buy a house and you have
Yeah.
really bad credit and your husband has really good credit and you just really hope the bank is going to give you a loan.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. If your domain reputation is bad and the IP is good, you
Yeah.
might not land in the inbox. Some people
Exactly.
have good domain reputation and bad IP because they're sharing with other people and they land or they don't land in the inbox. Depends on a million things. The computer deciding all these things. The bounces, it's very important to check which types. Is it a hard bounce because the email doesn't exist? Or is it a hard bounce because Microsoft is telling you, you're on a block list. I will not accept your email until you're off Spam House. That gives you an idea of things. Or sometimes looking at the bounces, is all of Yahoo bouncing? If you
Yeah.
have an issue with Yahoo,
Yeah.
is all of Hotmail bouncing? That's starting to show you that certain types of spam filters don't like you. And you need to check it before it becomes an actual problem and no one ever receives an email ever again. Doing seed tests, especially when you're doing some crazy things and you're not sure if it's going to impact you, doing a seed test before, doing a seed test after, do a seed test a week later to see if your performance has dipped. It's not very accurate 100%, but it gives you an idea of today, right now, how many inboxes would accept your email. All those things are important and they're fairly very cheap or free to do. Checking your authentication. If you're migrating, please check your authentication, or like I do it for free. I don't sell anything at all. I'm just doing it for free so that people can be authenticated correctly. If you don't have the money for a domain, buy the domain for $1 or $2 or $20 a year and use something like
Yeah.
Zoho. It's free. And they
Yeah.
allow SPF, DKIM, DMARC, and it's a free inbox. I think up to 5 or 10. You don't have to pay $10 a month to have an inbox, but you do need
Yeah.
an inbox. And also, don't use domains that you don't own. I had a
Yeah.
customer once that's like his business name, but it was somebody bought the domain, but he
Yeah.
wanted to use it because it was his business name, and he was spoofing this other business that they shared the name. And how, oh, sometimes you see things and you like
Yeah.
it's logical, like what the logic they made was correct, but
Exactly.
it's not correct in the real world,
Exactly.
and you can't laugh, and you can't roll your eyes or just put your head in your hands. You just have to like
Yeah.
smile, and it's like, oh, but you can't do that. It's one,
Yeah.
illegal, two,
Yeah.
technically not okay.
One illegal. Okay, that's it. It doesn't need number two.
It's like I opened a business called PayPal, and then I'm like, that's it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna send emails from Yanna-Torry at PayPal.com.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to do that.
So
So
good.
deliverability is one, maintaining everything,
Yeah.
and spam complaints. Oh, that's an actual really good tip. A lot of
Yeah.
people tend to tell me that they don't have a lot of spam complaints, and the reason is that their audience is comprised of inboxes that don't give you spam complaint. They don't give you feedback loops. So for example, Google will tell you 4% clicked on spam, but you don't know who, so you cannot remove them. Some companies will give you Yahoo. They'll give you the this person clicked on spam, so the ESPs or you would remove them from your list immediately, automatically. But if you're, for example, in Europe, or you're sending to the Greek inboxes, the Italian ones, they don't give you the spam complaints. They don't tell you who spam clicks on spam. So you might think you have low spam complaints, but that's not true. You have high spam complaints. You just don't get you don't get the bounce back on terms of spams. So sometimes it's very important to see if people have stopped receiving your emails or stopped engaging with them. They might have clicked spam, which means the emails goes into spam and at some point nowhere. And that's the reason they're not engaging, because they didn't want the email anymore. Stop sending to those people. How spam rates work is not very nice or very clear to people. They think all companies will, this person click on spam. If I send you an email and you click on spam, how will I ever know? I won't know. Most companies will not tell you. So keep that in mind as well when you're cleaning lists. If you see some people were engaging, they're not engaging anymore, it might be that they got tired of your emails. Remove them from your list, and unfortunately, re-engaging them will probably not work, because the filter will filter them out. So that's really good actual advice, because as long as you know how to play the game, you can make better decisions, and you feel less guilty of removing people. Why do you care if they will never receive your email? What difference does it make if they're in your list? So that would be something important for people to know.
The last question I was thinking about, it's precisely what you've mentioned about the re-engagement campaigns. How much a risk it is to re-engage people that already 6 months, for instance, that you don't have any click, any open rate, whatever. You don't have any information about them in 6 months. What are the chances that you are going to have a cool re-engagement campaign or whatever?
In order to make sure that everything, you keep your reputation safe when you're doing the re-engagement campaigns, you don't do them one shot. It depends on the volume. So if you have 10,000 customers that haven't engaged with you, I would definitely be sending it in batches of like 500 or even 200, and just like try to get them back. Re-engagement, the subscriber life cycle, re-engagement starts before it's time to clean your list. When you clean your list, it's because you know who you don't want to email anymore, or who you want to email once a year or 2 times a year or once a month. It's very, very important to start thinking about it before. If the people didn't care about the first 10 promotional emails, what can I do to not lose them now? If I have to wait in 6 months to clean my list, it's a little bit too late, or it's a little bit too risky. And then you have to do it very slowly. I would definitely clean the list with a tool like Use Bouncer. Then I would start sending to them very slowly amongst all the other emails that I'm sending that are good. So if I'm sending, like 1,000, like I don't know, like 1,000 people that are really engaged, I would kind of introduce a good 200. One, to see the bounces, two, to see people are going to complain, and reintroduce them in if it's been too late. But if not, re-engagement starts at the beginning. When you're starting to lose them is when you need to get them again, not when you lost them.
Exactly.
And then it's like, do you want a coupon for Black Friday? Like, who are you? I don't remember you. So try and get them before. And sometimes just asking the customer directly what they want. Like, do you want our emails? And do you mind if we send them once a month?
Cool.
I'd probably say yes. Once a month, big deal. So ask your customers questions and ask them to reply back. People can reply back to your emails, by the way. It's like free. It could be free promotions, like take a picture with the clothes that you bought, take a picture of, whatever. And you get like free content, you get free reviews, and amazing deliverability, because you show the most important engagement of all, a reply.
A reply, yeah. But the brands have a no reply sender email. So they are not getting any replies, whatever.
I don't know it was a great idea like 7 years ago when spam filters did different things, but that's not how spam filters work anymore. I think at some point our email is going to end up being like humans actually manually emailing one human at a time, because the spam filters are going to be way smarter than all of us. And we're going to have to go one customer at a time to see what they want.
I guess the brands, the ones that have a lot of subscribers, they are afraid of getting the thousands of replies, and then they don't have the manpower to answer to all of these replies. But today, with a lot of the technology that can filter the messages and send to the right people inside the organization, and also some artificial intelligence that can immediately identify some of the points that it's in in the content of the emails, can be deployed. But most of these people are not actually going to reply that much. It's uh, yeah, it's not a common thing, so it's not going to be thousands of replies, but the ones that we are going to get, they are very useful, very valuable for a lot of things, but also for the deliverability, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
deliverability is, and like me, I love asking people the question: How much money do you think you're losing if 30% randomly of the emails, because you don't know who, is not getting the emails? How much money are you losing?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Well, it's maybe you should, because you'd realize that you don't need to do all these other kind of spammy tactics to reach
Yeah.
your end goal of sales or things like that.
Yeah.
Because if you just deliver more emails to the people who
Yeah.
want them, you don't need all these other
For
people who
sure.
just don't care. And it's just
For sure.
really hard, just to make that,
Yeah.
to
Mm.
weigh that out and be like, what's more important.
Yeah.
But people just need to chillax and think about it. Really, what is the goal of the email marketing inside your business? In some
Yeah.
businesses,
For
it does
sure.
nothing. And in some other businesses, it's done wrong. And you're like, why? Your business is perfect for email marketing.
Yeah.
Why are you not engaging with people? And sometimes it's just also like trends. Like I'm Greek,
Hmm.
so in Greece we're a little bit late on the abandoned carts and all the all the
Hmm.
cool marketing stuff that were very cool a
Yeah.
couple years ago. Now it's just kind of normal. There's a lot of things out there. Go look at what your competitors are doing. Sign up to their emails. Are you annoyed at their emails? Sign up to your own emails. Just dive into it more than just, well, I have pretty shoes. Everybody wants to buy my pretty shoes. Who wants to
Mm.
buy them? Why do we want to buy them? Or is it something you can sell on the holidays? Is somebody going to really buy Louis Vuitton on Black Friday? I don't
Yeah.
think anybody's going to buy
Yeah.
rebates,
Yeah.
Louis
Exactly.
Vuitton shoes.
Yeah.
That's not what the customers are
Yeah.
doing. They want to pay the expensive tag. You might get like one idiot that doesn't have the money that will put it on a credit card, but that's not who you want to be wearing Louis
Yeah.
Vuitton shoes. So
Exactly.
look at who you are, what your brand does, what you want from them, and give them exactly what they want.
Cool.
That's it. It's very easy. What do you
Yeah.
say now? Just give people what they want.
Yeah, do you have some places where people can find you more about your work, and do you want to share about where people can find you?
Oh, the easiest way to get in contact with
Yeah.
me is through LinkedIn. I'm always on
Mm.
LinkedIn, always answering
Cool.
messages.
Cool.
If not, right now I'm working on email console with my two partners, and
Mm.
we're trying to make deliverability monitoring tools accessible to everyone
Cool.
without a
Cool.
big price tag, and to give them all the knowledge they need to make better decisions.
And that's it. I hope you find it useful. It was for me, and it was a very good chat with Yanna-Torry. I hope you can find more about her on LinkedIn. If you search for her on LinkedIn, she's very active there. Also on Email Console, which is a project that she's handling right now, and it's very promising for sure. So I hope you've liked all of this content. If you do, please subscribe to the channel. It's going to help me to reach more people. And please click also on the notifications button, because it's the way that you're going to be alerted about new content that I'm going to share. Okay? Bye bye. See you soon. Bye.